So R1 in my hand. Speed demon of a camera. Oh well, it's electronic shutter. Why electronic shutter? It's quite funny. Now it's default to electronic shutter. Almost forgot. Of course, I also have the R5 Mark II with me today. They both share a lot of similar technology. But let's start shooting. Last week I was in Munich, Germany. Canon had some basketball player and break dancer for us to test out the brand new flagship R1 and the brand new 8K shooting R5 Mark II. And AI is a big thing about these two cameras. It's not just a buzzword. It's, well, according to the keynote I saw yesterday, it is actually quite impressive. Let's just go straight to R1 with a burst. Electronic shutter up to 40 fps, not 14, 40. All of these are 24.2 megapixel RAW files. Maybe you're thinking, hang on a minute, I think the other one do much faster. Yes and no, the other one do 20 fps RAW. Yeah, it can do 120 fps, but 11 megapixel JPEG. Canon just don't do that, it's cheating. Meanwhile, R5 Mark II is 45 megapixel just like before. It still do up to 30 fps RAW with electronic shutter. And they both have pre-continuous shooting as well. Now this is a stack sensor, and maybe that's why they choose to have default to electronic shutter, because they claim that this electronic shutter actually, the rolling shutter actually faster than mechanical shutter anyway. It eliminates a big part of why you don't want to use electronic shutter. And I've also mentioned AI. Now AI, what was it about the AI? Actually both cameras have it. That is the new thing, is the action priority mode. You can choose between basketball, soccer, which is football, and volleyball. Like before that, Canon also already got very good subject recognition. Detect the body, detect the head, detect the eyes. But sometimes, like in this kind of situation, it might focus on somebody else, maybe closer to the camera, but doesn't have the ball. But now, it actually detects which player have the ball with him or her, and it would focus on that person, that player. Action priority is just the first of many new AI features of the R1 and R5 Mark II. It do make sense that you can train an AI model to recognize what it should be looking for in a specific sport, like basketball in this case. In reality, it's really quite hard to tell if the AI action priority actually doing anything, because like in this kind of situation, it's not really that complicated, and I think a normal non-AI tracking can do the same thing as well. Sometimes it clearly fails to follow who has the ball. Like here the ball clearly got passed to another player, but the focusing not following to that player. And sometimes it's simply not doing anything special at all. It's not following who gets the ball, and then it just looks like normal subject recognition, like normal body, face and eye recognition. Sometimes it do look like that it actually follows the ball and switch the focus on another player. All I can say is that for now, for this beta testing R1, I don't see an obvious difference between this AI action priority than the normal subject recognition. I also have to explain that maybe I shouldn't use a zone focusing to test this action priority. I probably should have used the whole area AF, because it would restrict the initial subject recognition to within the zone. But it doesn't matter because I have the whole area tracking servo AF turned on. So once I have the shutter button half pressed, it doesn't really matter, the tracking won't be restricted by the zone anymore. As you can see, once I start the half press, the AF zone simply disappears and the tracking just simply switch between players across the frame. If you have the whole area tracking servo AF off, the AF zone won't disappear, and then it will only track anything within the zone. What else? It got cross-type AF, I haven't heard this for a long time. Cross-type AF used to be on DSLR. Maybe I haven't heard of cross-type AF for a long time because the only mirrorless have it is Olympus. But now actually Canon make it onto the image sensor that some of the pixel actually rotate 90 degrees. Now we got cross type AF. Now let's try the blackout free display as well. Actually, I don't see much difference between blackout free display on and off. Turn the blackout free off. Now it's blackout free off. Pretty blackout free to me. Let's turn it back on. Yeah, it's still blackout free. Hey, that's funny. I've only realized later if you have the blackout free display off, the first frame did flash really quickly once. See that again. But if you have the blackout free display on, it don't flash at all. Yeah, that's the only thing I noticed. And on the icon, it clearly shows that this is for electronic shutter. It's not about mechanical shutter as well. Now the AI also helps with noise reduction as well. Now it's not just normal noise reduction, it can AI noise reduction. You have seen that on like computer software already with AI noise reduction, but now you have it in the camera anyway. So when Canon do their own AI noise reduction with their own lens, their own camera body, supposed to be better, and well, you don't have to do it again on your computer anyway. Well, this is even harder to verify because you can't individually turn off the neural network noise reduction in the menu anyway. And again, the R1 I have only have a beta firmware as well, so this image quality isn't final. What isn't final, and I'm going to show you anyway, is this in-camera image upscaling. So now it's like the movie, you can just enhance, and you got up to 4 times the megapixel. R1 you can have originally 24 megapixel up to 196, or R5 Mark II original 45 megapixel up to 180 megapixel. Done with beta firmware, image quality not final. Let's look at the body itself. Well, of course, let's start with the R1, the flagship. So this is actually quite similar to R3, but one thing I realized is that the leather is quite interesting. The pattern looks like some kind of metal flooring. Really industrial kind of style. Well, little to say, it's really great gripping. It feels really great. I always describe this kind of flagship DSLR or mirrorless, I always describe it as I feel like gripping a power tool, like a drill. In front there are 2 customizable buttons. This is duplicate as for vertical shooting. At the side is something that you expect, like my HDMI, of course it's big HDMI, Ethernet port. So look at the back. One thing interesting is that it got a flip out screen. I mean, this is kind of, I think this is mainly for still photo. Of course, it can do really great video. But for other brands, when it's mainly for photo, you will have a screen that flip out like this or flip out like that. Rather than, because when you want to flip it out, this is a little bit slower. You have to flip and turn. But yeah, that's what you get on this. There's a eye control. You got IR sensor around the EVF. Also, it got anti-fog design. The EVF is actually sealed. I mean, EVF, you got multiple lenses. The most annoying thing is moisture getting inside. So now this one is sealed. It's the same as R5 Mark II as well. Both have the anti-fog design. Yeah, when I mentioned the eye control, you also got this thing that feels like a little joypad, a little something like a BlackBerry. But also this AF on button, now it got half press. So you can customize it for different things in the menu as well, for what do you do with half press. On the side, 2 CF Express cards, of course. Really expensive CF Express. Of course, if you can afford a camera like this, you can afford savings first, I suppose. By the way, the backlight button, it turns on automatically whenever you go to menu, not the info, when you go to replay, playback, they will turn on automatically as well. Yeah, not much else. Moving on to the R5 Mark II. At first glance, it's really similar to R5, which you won't be wrong. But there are improvements. Like I mentioned, the EVF, you got eye control. Card situation is a little bit, you can say it's flexible. I think it's a little bit annoying because there's one SD card and one CF Express. For example, if I want to use two cards at the same time, that means I have to shoot a video in the format that is allow SD cards. So I can't shoot RAW because I have a SD card. But for example, what card do you think I'm using on my S5 Mark II shooting 6K now? Well, actually, I've been using this Lexar silver SD card. And this is just a basic, affordable UHS-1 V30 card as well. Well, this video is sponsored by Lexar. I have been using this kind of basic card for years. I never need a fast card, even shooting 6K on my S5 Mark II. That's also why last time I mentioned I hope that the R5 actually shoots something in between 4K and 8K. I really hope that they have a 5K or 6K option. I think it has a better balance between file format and not the file format, the file size, and editing them. Especially if you're just starting on photography, videography, don't think that you necessarily need fast card, expensive fast card. Even for sports photography, only those professionals that work under pressure, under a pay job, who really need fast card. And because this is much more affordable, I can have not just one, two. Drop it this time. I have two 256GB SD card. The other one is Silver Plus, a little bit faster, but still both of them affordable. I shoot all my video today into two cards at the same time. I put all my eggs into two baskets. Got backup. And yeah, there's a Silver and then Silver Plus. Silver Plus is new. Also got micro SD Silver Plus card as well. Lexar is also an established brand, reliable, trusted by professionals for years. So check it out if this approach fits you better. More affordable card, you can get more of them rather than juggle between like just a couple of expensive cards. HDMI now is the full-size HDMI finally. But also you can see this. What is this? This is actually for cooling fan. Don't be too excited. Yes, it doesn't have a built-in cooling fan, but you can get a vertical grip with cooling fan. So quite interesting that vertical grip, you got three different choices. You got the normal vertical grip that you can put in another battery. You got a vertical grip with Ethernet port, or you also have vertical grip with cooling fan with Ethernet ports. How does it work is that there is air intake at the bottom here. When you put on a vertical grip with cooling fan, it blows air in here and then out from here. Maybe that's why the R5 Mark II is actually a little bit thicker than the R5. Also, yeah, it is a bit weird before with the R5, the on-off buttons on this side, so you can't turn it on single-handed. And also, before that, you have to use a mode button to change still and movie. But now you have this and this. You just turn it on single hand.
Better.
But
yes.
With limited time, I sneaked back to my hotel room and did a sneaky overheating test. Only have time to do one overheating test, so I choose to do 4K. Because most people shoot 4K, and even according to Canon testing, 8K are not going to shoot for a very long time anyway, but I want to verify the 4K recording limit figure of over 2 hours. Now the camera had already cooled down before I started. The only thing out of ordinary was that the battery was low and I don't have much time, so I have plugged in USB-C power to it.
One new thing I like on those latest Canon camera is that it shows you a scale of the internal temperature when the temperature up to certain level. So you can see that and plan ahead, maybe find some time for the camera to cool down. Let me say this again, this is really unscientific. This is a camera with beta firmware, but 48 minutes it overheat and stopped recording. And less than an hour locked under the sun is a bit low these days, even with USB-C power plugged in. Let's just hope the final product isn't like this, yeah? Well, Evan mentioned that R5II can do RAW up to 8K 60 or 4K RAW, 4K up to 120 FPS, or Full HD up to 240 FPS. One cool trick is video pre-recording up to 5 seconds. It has 5 seconds of pre-recording, which I only just pressed the record button now. But it got the 5 seconds before I pressed the record button as well. Stabilization is at the center, have 8.5 stop stabilization and the peripheral 7.5 stops. So I'm using a 20 millimeters. So yeah, the stabilization looks like this. I'm not sure how does it work. I mean, how good that is it? I'm not sure right now yet. Looking at this screen, looking at this small screen always looks pretty good. So yeah, but you'll see. So yeah, that's it. 2 really important new cameras from Canon. There's a lot of AI deep learning neural network stuff, which I really believe it is the right direction to go. But for now, maybe it is beta firmware. Some aspect of it seems not ready yet. Also, what's interesting is that Canon chose to have lower megapixel count but double the raw electronic shutter burst rate than the Z9. And the fact that it seems like everybody are moving towards electronic shutter. So what do you think about the 2 cameras, and what do you think the moving towards electronic shutter and AI in camera? Can you accept in-camera AI upscale photos as real photos?